Stargirl Season 2, Episode 5. We are coming full swing into this new Injustice Society storyline as we get a lot of play from Cindy in this episode. And honestly, that's a good thing because I think she's really filling that void of like the on the boots villain. You know, it's like here she is, boots on the ground, doing her own thing. I like her a lot. I think she's a really fun character and she's building her team up, which is kind of cool to see. So, a lot of this episode is dedicated to this idea of learning the threat of Eclipso, which makes a lot of sense. You know, we're seeing his power growing, like the weather patterns in Blue Valley are changing, and everyone's like, what's going on? Why is the weather becoming so weird here that we can't keep anything going right? Like, the forecast says it's sunshine and rainbows, it's gloomy and doomy, and there's a bunch of gray and clouds and rain and everything. Nothing is going good in Blue Valley, and there's some reason for that. It's because Eclipso's power is growing. It's pretty cool to see. Again, we see that, Pat is not telling the truth, or at least everything. He's not telling everything to Courtney about what's really going on with Eclipso, which I think makes sense. He's like, look, I told you the 10-year-old daughter of Dr. Midnight was killed. That's all you need to know. And there's some secret he's just hiding something. We don't know what it is, but there's got to be something he's not saying, which is kind of interesting. So, I really liked this episode, and I think it was kind of fun to see, but I'll be honest, I don't think it was the strongest outing this season. I think you spend a lot of time at the end perfecting certain shots, like with that end battle, which looked kind of cool. The rest of it was very standard CW stuff, and that's not a problem. You have to fill time sometimes. I get that completely. And what we're seeing, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best that this season has offered. Now, we see the return of Cameron. Icicle's son is back. He is working on the mural for his dad, and we're just getting like, okay, Cindy wants to recruit him. His grandparents don't want him involved with Cindy. They know who she is right away. And we see that the grandparents have Icicle powers, which there's a whole lineage of Icicle people, I guess. It's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that angle to be something we see. I thought like just the dad would acquire the powers, but no, the mother here has the powers too. Or the grandmother, I should say. The grandmother of Cameron. And of course, because Cameron did kind of have a little thing, flirty-wordy going on there with Courtney in the first season, the fact that he's back inspires him to talk to her a little bit more, so he kind of goes to the school. He wants to like practice in the art studio, but the art teacher, who is the one who is teaching the summer school, sees these little drawings that Cameron's been doing in his notebook, and they're all of Courtney. You get like, that teacher who's like, oh, you should just talk to the girl, it's so easy, you're so cool and fun. If I was young and hip with the kids, that's what I'd do. It's kind of cool. I like it. Like the art teacher, Dasinger or something is his name, like that. I liked this character a lot. You got a lot of interesting stuff with him from this episode where you just see like, he obviously had dreams. They maybe didn't come to fruition the way he wanted them to, but the guy had a life he wanted to live, and he even lived it a bit. He's talking about like, you found your muse. If Courtney's your muse, you should talk to her. You should show her these drawings. And then, when Cindy like puts the Eclipso thoughts in him and he starts to think about what his life could have been, and him finding his muse again, and maybe his new muse is Eclipso, really cool. It's kind of really interesting to see that angle of things. It just made for a really cool story, and it gave us one of my favorite scenes of the show. I love this, actually. I think this was a really cool thing to see. Just the art teacher vomiting different colors of paints, like that was so cool. Just like the yellows and purples just spewing from his mouth as he's getting sick by the Eclipso diamond. That was awesome. I thought that looked really cool, and it was so unique. It's just like, that's the kind of effect where I'm like, that's where somebody was thinking. It's also kind of silly because he's an art teacher, so like everything related to him is going to be art, but he kind of becomes obsessed and he does find his muse, and he's going to be drawing the diamond, which leads to a great effect later. We'll get to that in a bit though. And of course, Courtney does kind of have a thing for Cameron, regardless of his heritage. She thinks she's going to go talk to him, so they do kind of talk a bit. He shows her the notebook. She likes it. They kind of get to talking, and right when they're about to smoochy, she gets called away to work on JSA stuff. Again, it could be annoying. I'm not saying it was perfect. It was handled the best that you can in a situation like this, where it has to be serialized storytelling, where we're going to come back to it and back to it. Maybe they'll kiss, maybe they won't, but I think for the most part, you buy the romance. You buy that these people like each other, and Cameron's just kind of holding out for somebody to connect with in this world. And especially since his father's dead, I think he's looking for that connection, which is kind of fun to see. That he hasn't found it yet. Maybe it's going to be Courtney, who really knows, but we just haven't gone there yet with those two characters. I imagine this season we're going to see them maybe get together in some variety. I don't know if Courtney's going to go against her team to be with him, but she's going to do something to be with him. That could be kind of cool to see. We get another great moment with Barb in here, and we see the Shade comes back to visit her, and she's like, look, I already dealt with like some weird psychopath stalking me. That's Icicle, so if you're going to do that, stick. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not doing Jordan's weird thing. My intentions are purely noble. I'm just here to tell you, like, keep your family away from me, and if you are really looking out for their best interest, you'll give me the diamond if you find it. Cool scene. Great way to differentiate Icicle and the Shade. I know they're different characters, but just showing like, hey, this isn't about the obsession with Barb this time, where he's like, I need the perfect American dream family. This is just like, there's some serious shit going on that you're not going to be able to deal with. So just let me deal with it. We can get on with our lives. None will be the wiser. I like that moment. I think it's very powerful stuff. Again, Amy Smart is an unsung hero on this show. I really just think she knows her role, and that's weird to say, like, you know your role, because of course you do, but it's like, she gets it, and I think she's just fully committed to being the motherly figure of the show, and I think that's really cool, and it emulates in the scene we see later on, when she goes with Pat to find Mike, and he wants to buy a car because he wants to, like, have a getaway car for JSA stuff. Mike's my favorite character on the show. I just think they've done so much with that character, and they made him just so perfect for what he wants to do in this world. I love it. And, you know, I just love when Pat's like, you got us to come out here all this way for this car. And Barb just goes, I didn't mind the trip. Like, he's asking for help, you know, Pat, like, we should try. And Pat's like, well, we're not buying the car, but I guess we could find a JSA project that we could work on together. And Mike hugs his dad. And I love that scene. It's so nice and so pleasant, and something that Mike has needed, I think, since the first episode this season, just to have that connection come back, because we dealt with him being isolated in the first season. Do we need to deal with that in the second season? I don't think we do, so we can move away from that storyline and get to something better. Hopefully. And that's kind of like the CW-y stuff we saw in here. Of course, CW is notorious for doing superhero projects, so we get our big kind of third act fight at the end of this, and it's pretty cool. Like, I'm not going to say it blew my mind, but just like, the JSA is going to the school. They're trying to find the Eclipse Diamond because they got like the weird power source from there. They find the art teacher spewing nonsense. The art room's destroyed. Everything is looking bad. And you see one of the drawings of the diamond, and like an eye is coming through it, and a face is coming through it, and it's starting to attack them. It looks really cool. And just the way that Eclipse was starting to get into everybody's head, and they're realizing that this guy is not just Icicle or Sportsmaster or Tigress or the Wizard or any of them. This guy's a lunatic. This is a demon, a creature of the night, somebody that could potentially kill us and harm us in severe ways that we probably are not ready for. He gets in everyone's mind, you know, he's showing Rick, Solomon Grundy, like, who's the real monster. Beth's parents are splitting up. He's like, you're dividing your family. Yolanda's seeing the people she killed, you know, like the Brainwave family. It's really dark stuff. They're just trying to, like, take away these dark thoughts, but it's kind of Courtney who's able to shine the light through the darkness and blast the, you know, the cosmic staff and kind of get the darkness to emulate away from the art teacher and save his life. But of course, it causes him to go to a psychiatric ward because that shit's scary. Like, that's some weird stuff happening to you, and you're not going to be okay because of it. I get it. That's really scary stuff. And it was kind of cool. You know, it kind of happened really fast where they didn't really give you time to, like, breathe or anything in this fight scene, but it looked good. Like, I'm just been very impressed with where the budget is going on this show, because in the moments where you're like, you could cheap out here, is the moments they don't cheap out in. Now, the effects aren't perfect on everything. Sometimes the gooey slime stuff looks very CW, but sometimes you just gotta do with what you got, you know, just make it work, and it worked for the most part. I liked that a lot. We do end things with Cindy talking to her smaller ISA team. They're like, we're all this together. We're probably not going to get Cameron. Maybe he's going to switch to the good side and be an Icicle Junior for good. But we do have something we still need, and that, of course, is Mike. So Mike's a crucial figure point in this upcoming season. I hope that's the case, because I want to see him do some great stuff. And it looks like we're going to be seeing an ISA JSA fight in the next episode. But it's cool, you know, everyone's starting to realize Eclipso's here to stay. He's our big bad. The Shade wants to destroy him. Cindy's using him for whatever. And Courtney and Cameron are getting a little smoochy coochie in the bathroom. Bathroom? That was a weird way to put it, because they were in his nice big house where his grandparents are watching him be a weirdo from the highest peak of the house looking down on him. It's weird stuff, but it's cool. We also see at the end of the episode that Cameron is developing his icicle powers, which means at some point he's going to use them. I don't know when and where, but is it going to be for good? Is it going to be for bad? Who really knows? I like this episode. It does have some filler moments, which happens in a show like this, but it gives us some great stuff of Courtney and Cameron. It shows you the threat of Eclipso and just builds the show up in a greater way than what we've seen before. So, while not my favorite episode this season, it delivered some pretty good stuff and just showed us what the show can do when it's got the right moments, and I'm excited to see what's coming next in the upcoming episodes, because the show continues to impress me and just be something special and fantastic. I really like Stargirl, and I think you will too. Please check it out, because it's really fun. So that is my review of Stargirl episode 5. Now be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.